Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. So this is a new case. I actually learned about this last week, I believe it was, on News Nation. And I'm going to go through a clip or two from Banfield's show about it, where she actually spoke with some of his family. This is Noah Presgrove. He was 19 years old and he was found dead on the side of the road in Terrell, Oklahoma, back on September 4th of 2023. He was last seen alive at a 4-day long 22nd birthday party with friends over that Labor Day weekend that was highly documented on social media. It was a big, big party, lots of kids. There was writing on each other, all sorts of craziness going on, young kids. And then he was found dead on the side of a road.
September 4th, he was found dead less than a mile away from that party on the side of a rural highway. He was naked except for his shoes. And to this day, neither Noah's family nor the police know how he got there. But now the family is sharing some heartrending details that they do know that haven't been made public before. They say an investigator told them the back of Noah's head was caved in, that he had road rash on his hip and gravel rash on his shoulder and multiple bruises. A friend's dad who went to the scene says that some of Noah's teeth were scattered on the ground. A pair of white shorts was a few feet away, and the shoes that Noah had on, only one of those shoes belonged to Noah, and the other shoe belonged to a friend.
This is a very, very strange death. And again, we're looking back at September of last year, and here we are almost the beginning of May, very end of April of 2024, and yet no answers as to what happened to Noah. In my opinion, something happened at that party, and it went a lot further than their shenanigans were supposed to go. And again, it was lots of craziness at the party. They have some videos showing here with the blurred faces. They were writing on each other, slapping each other, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And yet, how does one kid from this party, a 19-year-old who just graduated high school not long before, how does he end up dead on the side of the road with his head caved in, buck naked, wearing one of his own shoes, one of his friend's shoes, which I'm suspicious of the friend's shoe he had on, with most of his teeth on the ground and his fingers all torn up? I think there is a lot more going on, and a lot more happened during that 4-day weekend party.
At the funeral home, Noah's body was bruised all over and swollen. Noah's aunt says that it was obvious his nose and his cheek were broken. His cousin says that his fingertips were shredded, as if he'd been holding on to something for dear life. I'm joined now by Noah's aunt and his cousin, Robin Smith and Ashley Chadwick. Robin and Ashley, thank you so much for being here again tonight. It's hard to read those details and have you listening. I know you're listening, and I know you've been living this, and I just can't imagine how you're processing all of it. I'm also very curious how the investigators explained those details to you. Robin, can you field this first one? What did the investigators say when you learned about the extent of these injuries?
They said that they didn't think that this was from a vehicle. It wasn't an auto ped. There was no indication of wraparound. There was no indication of any kind of injuries to the lower half of his body. So his pelvic would have had injury, his legs. But there was nothing on the lower half of his body. Everything was to the top of his body on the left side. There was a wound to the back of his head, different skull fractures. He had ribs broken, and it was all on the left side.
When you say no wraparound, is that the terminology they use? If it had been a hit and run, there'd be some indication that he would have somehow
He would have,
wrapped around whatever it was that hit him?
Yes, whether it was from the front or the back. If he had been hit forward, he would have gone forward over the hood, and if he had been hit from the back, he would have splayed back over the hood. And there was no indication of that whatsoever.
See, I feel like he may have been thrown from a vehicle, but I think that may have been the last thing that happened, because when I heard that the back of his head was bashed in, that makes me think of a bat, a hammer, somebody, I hate to say it, but somebody stomped on him, on his head, and his fingers being just torn up and all the bruises. I feel like this guy was majorly beaten up and then tossed onto the side of the road.
I know in another case that we covered, there was some talk about what about a rear view mirror of like a semi or a big heavy truck? Could that have been it if he were on the side of the road and got sideswiped with a rear view mirror?
No, they said that so Noah was tall. He was 6'2", 6'3". He was a tall kid. So even a normal car would have been too short, especially for the injury on his head. But if a normal car had hit him, that there would have been plastic in the road. There was nothing. There was nothing at the scene. If a semi or a truck mirror had hit him, they said, and this is a little graphic, but that his head would not have remained attached to his body at those highway speeds. The speed in that area is 65 miles per hour. It's rural Oklahoma. Everybody's doing a little bit more than 65.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I can see how they've sort of, by the process of elimination, tried to explain some of these things, but still without answers. So, Ashley, when you went to the funeral home, tell me a little bit about the experience and what you saw when you were there.
When I had went to the viewing at the funeral home, I was there roughly a total of 7 minutes. I did not last long. I spoke to my family when I arrived, and I went into the room of where his body was. And whenever I approached the casket, I immediately saw that he did not appear of what he normally looked like. His face was so swollen, and you could tell with the makeup, like they tried their best. He was really dark complected. The bruising all over his body was tremendous. When I looked at his hands, his fingertips looked as if he was like kind of hanging on or reaching out for something or doing whatever he possibly could to get away from whatever it was, as I'm assuming, because his fingertips were so like beat up. They were kind of like shredded in a sense. I don't know how best to put it in terminology.
Also makes me wonder if he was holding on to something like a curb. He was being pulled, beaten with fists, feet, weapons. I don't know, but why would his quote unquote friends, and we're going to put that in air quotes because I feel like one or more of his friends is responsible, or someone at that party, why would they do this to Noah? But you really don't know people. It just seems like you really don't know people, and Something sinister happened at that party, and that's the only thing that I can think of. Were they trying to do some sort of a fight club and it went too far? I don't know.
And as for how he was clothed in the casket, they put blue jeans on him, and he was going to wear his football jersey, but they had to put a like long sleeve underneath what I don't like a Under Armour type of long sleeve material underneath the jersey due to all the excessive bruising on his body.
So he's so badly bruised and beaten. He's got teeth all over the road. His head bashed in. Fingertips are shredded. He's naked, except for shoes, which one was not even his own shoe. And I'm guessing his underwear was nearby, from what I understand. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me. Now, what we know is 19-year-old Noah Presgrove was found dead on a desolate highway in Terrell, Oklahoma, September 4th, 2023. He was wearing only shoes again when his body was discovered. One was his, one was a friend's. And I'm sure that law enforcement has spoken to that friend. That friend may or may not have anything to do with what happened to Noah. But it is suspicious that he's wearing his shoe. And hours earlier, he was at a 4-day party with friends at a nearby home. It was the 22nd birthday party over the Labor Day weekend. So it was a big blowout 22nd birthday party, and you know, the alcohol was a-flowing. He may have been 19, but these are kids. He was going to college. You know that he was probably drinking, or definitely there was others drinking there. And who knows what else was flowing. He just graduated from Kamachi High School a few months earlier, and he was planning on joining the military. He's an active kid, sports, wanted to go in the military and serve our country. Sounds like a good kid just trying to have a good time. So all of Noah's friends claim to have no idea what happened to him and how he ended up dead on the roadside hours later. And to me, there is a secret or secrets going on. And with all of these young people, someone is going to break. Someone's going to break. They just need to push enough, find a weak link, because these kids at this party, they know exactly what happened to Noah, in my opinion. They know. So the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation has described his death as suspicious, but almost no details have been released about the investigation. So this is basically all we know. But he was basically beaten to a pulp, bruised, naked on the side of the road. And I feel horrible for his entire family and his close friends. And I'm not talking about the friends at this party, because if they were a real friend, they would say something. Obviously, these are not Noah's real friends. A real friend stands by you. A real friend is going to come forward and do the right thing. And they're going to say, hey, this happened or this happened, went too far, whatever. So I don't believe he just left that party and something happened to him. It had to have happened at that party or with people at that party, in my opinion. So it's a very, very suspicious death. And I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think happened to Noah? What do you think killed him? Do you think he was beaten up by his so-called friends or folks at this party? Or do you think it was a random stranger or strangers? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm going to do another video on this again soon. This is definitely a strange case, and Noah deserves justice, and his family deserves to know what happened to him that Labor Day weekend in 2023. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day, and most of all, stay safe.